What's going on, family? It's Russ. This is my first YouTube video. Today is March 2nd, Sunday, and let's get into it. So if you know me in real life, you've probably endured one of my Bitcoin rants, and so you're welcome. But what I want to do here is I just want to bring this information and news about Bitcoin in particular. This is not a crypto channel. We're not getting into all of that. I want to focus solely on Bitcoin, and because today we have the announcement about a strategic crypto reserve. So real quick, I just want to hit this disclaimer. I'm not into politics, right? I'm going to talk a lot about Trump and the Republicans and the policies that they're pushing because it's important and it's relevant and it has implications for our lives. I don't support any politicians, and some of y'all feel some type of way about them. Some of y'all don't trust them. I'll say this. I respect him because I respect and acknowledge the power that he has, and you will not catch me lacking. I know what's going on, and I'm going to act accordingly. And I would strongly suggest that you do the same thing. So when we get into it, first off, who am I? I'm a musician. I have a background in private security, close protection, bar security. And I'm transitioning to a career in finance. I've been in Bitcoin since 2019. I've been in the stock market since around the same time. I have experience with crypto, options trading, investing, all of that. Little bit of forex, just so I could understand how currencies move relative to one another. I've been watching almost every single Federal Reserve meeting. Like when I tell you I am dialed in 100%, like this is my primary focus right now. So let's get into it. I don't want to waste any time, family. So strategic crypto reserve, including Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, and more. He is also including Ethereum. And Ethereum's, all of this is cool. I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect this. I expected a solely Bitcoin reserve. And I didn't think the announcement would come this soon. I thought we weren't going to get this announcement until summer of 2025. And I'll tell you why. Because we have this executive order. We're going to get to that. Strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. I remember this. I watched the inauguration. I watched all the first executive orders. I was waiting for this because I knew this was coming. And I'll get back to how I knew this was coming in a bit. But this is the big idea, right? So he touches on a few things. Primarily, I thought the strategic reserve wasn't going to come until later because he outlines a 30-day, 60-day, and 180-day window where they're basically doing research, reporting to him, and making policy recommendations for what they should do with crypto. So we're in a space today. We can go through the history. I'll catch you up to speed. But where we are today, I got to stress, where we are today is a very pivotal moment in crypto. Just like January 2024, where the first ETFs were approved, now we're in a stage in 2025 where game theory is playing out. Countries are coming for Bitcoin. Countries are coming for crypto. And this isn't the scary wild, wild west anymore. This is a solidified asset class that has regulation, that has policy, that has support. It has corporations supporting it. It has billionaires buying in. And the market cap is so large, all of crypto combined is worth 3.2 trillion, right? Equities like the stock market, that's worth 115 trillion. Bonds are worth about 330 trillion. Real estate is about 300 trillion. So like there are other asset classes that are way bigger than crypto. But the thing that's important about crypto where it is now is that it's a tenth of the size of the real estate market. But it's getting institutional and government support. And so it's going to grow orders of magnitude larger. Like that's fair to say based off of what we see happening. And I'm going to be honest, I hate crypto. I really like Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin because it has the best fundamentals. So what are fundamentals? We're talking about what's the real meat and potatoes of what this is. Some of you might not even know what Bitcoin is, and that's cool. If you stick around long enough, I will completely explain that to you. We can go through the tokenomics, but I can tell you right now, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and that's the primary value proposition is that Bitcoin is an absolutely finite asset. There is no central control authority. It's not like some private company came and made it up out of thin air. But it is actually backed by computing power, and it is the largest, strongest, most secure computing network in the world, orders of magnitude larger than Google, Amazon, whoever else you can think of. Like, this is a pretty big deal, and a lot of people have no idea what's going on. And I just want to, get this information across to you as efficiently and as effectively as possible, because I'll tell you now, my point for making this video is I just want you to start to do your own research. I want you to start to learn about Bitcoin, because this is an opportunity that you cannot afford to ignore. And I especially don't want a lot of you to ignore it because of who's endorsing it. That would be a mistake, right? So, let's have sober minds. Let's really think about this and, start to learn. And that's what I'm here for. If you got questions, put it in the chat. Let me know what some of your pain points are with this, and I will walk you through it. I am not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. I'm just trying to share some information to help educate y'all. This is why Bitcoin in particular is a big deal, and crypto in general is a big deal. These are all the parties that are working on crypto research, on the policies, making the recommendations to the president, and the APEA, which is a big deal because I had to look up what that was. And that's the America's Partnership for Economic Prosperity. It includes Barbados, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama, Peru. I don't know this one. I'm gonna come back to that. But that's that country and the United States. I know that one. Uruguay. Yep, Uruguay. I know I couldn't get... I don't like getting stuck. I gotta work through things. Thank you for your patience. So, Uruguay. There we go. But this is the working group, essentially. This is a working group on digital assets, right? Chaired by the special advisor for AI and crypto. So we have special people in government working on AI and crypto. Secretary of Treasury, Attorney General, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Homeland Security. This is key, Homeland Security, because we'll get into it later. Whereas I have this book, Software. I got this book on like November 5th. No, I think I got it November 4th, back when it was still $45. This book is now like $200. The hardcover, I think, is about $8,000. It's really valuable information, so I would definitely take a look at it. But when we talk about Homeland Security, it's like we have to acknowledge that crypto, Bitcoin in particular, I don't care about crypto, Bitcoin in particular has national security significance. Like it's a strategic asset. And when we talk about game theory, we'll talk about a little bit of macroeconomics and how the world is playing out, right? Like we're talking about the entire financial system changing right before our eyes. And this is a big deal. This isn't just a casino. That's why crypto is a casino. Bitcoin is the true signal. Everything else is noise. And I'm really trying to communicate that, but I want to stay on topic and get through some of this information before I go on one of my classic Bitcoin rants, which is why I started a YouTube channel, so I could rant for free, for fun. So, Homeland Security, the Director of Office and Management Budget, Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs, like I said, National Security, Assistant to the President for National Economic Policy, we're talking about policy, I'll get to the executive order in a bit, another one. Assistant to the President for Science and Technology, Homeland Security Advisor, the Chairman of Securities and Exchange Commission, that's the SEC. We just got a new chairman. He's pro-crypto, so things are moving fast. And the Chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading. So, like I said, all of these departments of government are coming together. They're working on Bitcoin policy. They're working on crypto policy, artificial intelligence as well. They're making recommendations to the president and to all of these, to this working group. And in 180 days, that's the summer, they're going to make policy recommendations for all of these countries, including Uruguay. But they're going to make recommendations for all of these countries. And so this is a big deal where we see game theory play out. It includes our allies and our rivals. And so this is where when we see, I don't want to get too deep too soon, but when we see the changing economic order, everybody has to participate. And the thesis for Bitcoin, not crypto, but the thesis for Bitcoin in particular, is that it's a technology of mutually assured preservation instead of mutually assured destruction like nuclear weapons. Bitcoin is also a economic weapon. The computing power, the infrastructure, the energy that it takes. This is a billion-dollar industry that it's not subsidized. All the people that are mining Bitcoin, that's how it's created, is created by computers that solve complex mathematical algorithms to unlock the Bitcoin according to code. It's all done very in order, very sequenced. The code can't be changed. It's the most secure computing network on the world. It's never been hacked. Bitcoin itself has never been hacked. But this whole economy of like people and companies and billionaires buying these computers, setting up energy infrastructure to mine Bitcoin, it's a huge industry, and they're doing it because of the incentive structure of Bitcoin, which is why I talk about fundamentals, because nobody else is spending billions of dollars to create infrastructure in order to support a blockchain network. That's not happening in any other crypto. Like I said, Bitcoin is 60% of all of crypto, and nothing else matches it. So anyway, because I'm just trying to throw a lot of information out. So back to this, right? What does this mean? I want to talk about the implications. And my point is, oh my gosh. All right, let's move on. We're going to get a reserve. What's a reserve? That means the United States is going to buy these crypto assets and is going to hold them on their balance sheet. What is a balance sheet? A balance sheet has assets and liabilities. I mean, you got credit card debt, that's a liability. You got a car, that's a liability. You got a house, that's an asset. So the United States, they have reserves on their balance sheet. We have land, we have gold, maybe. we have oil, right? Our debt, bonds, Social Security, and other programs, debt that we owe to other countries. And so we have $36 trillion of debt. The interest that we pay on this debt is greater than our entire defense budget. And you know the United States can spend on defense. We going to spend some money on defense. The interest on the debt is bigger than the defense budget. So our debt, and Ray Dalio talks about this. I have this other book called The Changing World Order, so that when I mention the Changing World Order, you don't look at me like I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist, but like this is something that professionals and experts have been discussing for a decade now. And since 2020, these things have become much more clear to the average individual, or at least we have access to this information. But when we talk about the changing world order, when we talk about economic restructuring, when we talk about a global debt crisis on top of our specific American debt crisis, we see Bitcoin and crypto, we see our balance sheet, and we see this debt that we can't keep up with. So we're not going to just pay off this debt, because it doesn't make sense to do addition to try to pay off something that's multiplying, right? Interest compounds. So this interest is going to multiply. We need to have assets that outperform our debt, right? Because the debt is going to keep coming up, but we need to severely outperform it. So Michael Saylor, who's the CEO of Strategy, the largest Bitcoin treasury company in the world, they own roughly 2% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be, which is a pretty big deal because they did that in a few years, which is crazy. BlackRock did that in a year, so that's also crazy. We're going to get to those numbers in a bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. But essentially, he pitched to the United States, to Trump. He was like, look, buy Bitcoin, hold it for 20 years, and your assets will vastly outperform your debt. And that's what wealthy people do. They don't pay off their debt. They buy assets, they outperform their debt, they put it on their balance sheet, and it's like, what's 36 trillion if I got 700 trillion? It's not that big a deal. So there we go. Let's move on. I hope that made sense. If you got questions, let me know. I will definitely make more intentional videos, but I just had to get all of this information out quickly today. I don't got time for editing. I'm not a YouTuber. Like, I'm just trying to communicate. I spend all my time looking at charts and reading, and I don't look. Take this info. You got questions, let me know. I will make this very clear moving forward. But this is the Bitcoin Act of 2024. So when we look at a crypto reserve, a potential Bitcoin reserve, then we have to look at the policy that's already outlined. And so this Bitcoin Act of 2024, I'm going to highlight Section 5, where it says the Bitcoin Purchase Program. The United States wants to buy 200,000 Bitcoin, or Cynthia Lummis, Cynthia Lummis, the senator from Wyoming. She's suggesting that the United States buy 200,000 Bitcoin, 200,000 Bitcoin over a 5-year period to acquire 1 million Bitcoin. There are only 21 million Bitcoin. They want to buy 5% of all the Bitcoin there will ever be and not sell it. So if they buy 200,000 Bitcoin over a 5-year period, that would be an enormous amount of Bitcoin. This would drastically impact the market. The price would go up. We have what's called stock to flow, supply and demand, very simple economics. You have a limited supply of something, you have a whole bunch of demand. So price is set at the margin is what all of us finance guys say, which, is basically what this means is they're going to have to pay the cost to be the boss. You want Bitcoin? Cool. It's a limited supply. You're going to have to pay whatever it costs. Yesterday's prices aren't today's prices. You know what I mean? So when I first got into Bitcoin in 2019, it was worth $3,000. Now it's worth $94,000. I think Bitcoin could go a lot higher this year. That's why I'm still buying Bitcoin. Or rather, I should say I'm buying Satoshis. 1 Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshis, just like $1 is 100 pennies. We can also get deeper into those tokenomics. I'm trying to pack a lot in this video, so please bear with me. But 200,000 Bitcoin, that's a pretty big deal, right? So that's what it will look like. They will buy a lot. I think in Section 7 as well, consolidation of government holdings. So you may not know, but the United States already has 207,000 Bitcoin. That's almost 1% of the total supply. So, right, initially what we're going to do, it also came out last week that I think it's the Department of Homeland Security can't locate the Bitcoin that they that they have. So we'll see if we even have the Bitcoin that we say we have. We'll see if we have the gold that we say we have. There's a lot going on, man. I'm trying to stay up to date. So initially, once this bill passes, and I think it will, but let's say if this bill passes, the federal government will have to, including, the Bitcoin that we have can't be sold, swapped, auctioned, or otherwise encumbered. And upon the acquisition of the legal title of such Bitcoin, including after final unappealable judgment is entered in criminal or civil forfeiture, action in favor of the federal agency be transferred by the head of such federal agency to the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Basically saying, we know these other agencies have Bitcoin that they confiscated. We're going to put that in our reserve. And it's nothing y'all can do about it. That is what it is. Period. Cool. So, moving. Section 8. This is also important. I don't want to bore you with policy, but this is a pretty big deal. So, there are currently nearly 30 states that have already drafted and submitted in Congress strategic Bitcoin reserves, purely Bitcoin, not crypto. These states only want Bitcoin. Texas is one of them. Pennsylvania unfortunately denied it, though we were the first mover. And this policy is passing like bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats. So, 20 plus states, nearly 30 states that want a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We'll see if these bills pass. But this basically outlines voluntary state participation. So states can buy Bitcoin and have a reserve if they want. Section 8 kind of outlines like how they're going to do it. I'm moving on. Section 10. This is what's really important. Bitcoin is private property, right? They can't take it from you even if they wanted to. The other confiscated Bitcoin, they confiscated that by acquiring the person's private keys or taking it from an exchange. Once you have Bitcoin, once you learn about cold storage, this is capital that's not related to your social security number. If there was a data breach like it was in 2024, one of the largest in history, if someone was to steal your identity, they wouldn't be able to access your cold storage Bitcoin. This is super powerful because the closest thing we have to this is holding cash in your pocket or holding Bitcoin in a safe. Holding gold in a safe. If you hold cash, it's inflating away ridiculously, and so everything's going to get more expensive for you. If you hold gold, it's heavy. So if you want to hold a significant amount of wealth in gold, you won't be able to move it around pretty easily, and it's expensive to move around. If you hold Bitcoin, you can hold it in your mind. It's just knowing your wallet address, knowing your private keys, and that money's yours, and nobody can touch it, nobody can tax it. And so this ensures that Bitcoin is private property and that the government can't take it, like how they took the gold back in the 70s, which was crazy. But anyway, so that's that. Okay, my phone's about to die. I'm going to wrap this up. I think the last thing I want to talk about is game theory, right? Look up game theory. It's basically a study of mathematical models and strategies and interactions. It has applications for many fields of social science. I'm not sharing my screen. Many fields of social science, and is used extensively in economic, logic, systems, science, and computer science. That's one definition. Game theory, in this case, like I said, we're going to make these policy recommendations to all of these countries as outlined in this executive order that did pass on the 23rd of January. We have a Senate Banking Committee for digital assets. So this is happening. This meeting just took place February 26th. I watched it. They talked about stable coins, which also has implication for U.S. treasuries, treasury notes, and our whole dollar system. I gotta relax. I'm really trying to communicate how big of a deal this is. This is happening. This is not speculation. This is not conspiracy. This is policy. This is politics. This is game theory. And by game theory, I'm talking about we're seeing countries, companies, sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, BlackRock come online and say this Bitcoin thing, we're all about it. We got to get an allocation. And so with the United States saying we're going to have a strategic reserve, now China has to clap back. Because you saw what happened with the AI stuff. We said we was going to do $500 billion invested in AI. China came back and said, we just released DeepSeek and we did it with less than a tenth of the cost. We better than y'all. So Trump is look, we about to have strategic reserves of crypto assets. What's China going to do? What's Russia going to do? And the hash rate, which is an indicator or a mathematical measurement of Bitcoin's computing power based on the mining, that whole computer network I talked about earlier. Russia has one of the highest hash rates. So this is a competition. So the United States and our allies, we're going to have to outcompete China, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the BRICS nations. And then at the same time these nations are competing, we have companies competing for who's going to have the most Bitcoin. So let me show you what Larry Fink actually said. Put you on game right quick.
You have been a leader in willing to embrace crypto. You have made it so that people can be in Bitcoin. We hear that you are thinking about Ethereum. These are incredible things. Now, BlackRock is not known as a gunslinger by any means. So you obviously must believe that this maybe is an alternative. Is this an alternative in order to be able, because of a deficit, maybe something long-term people should have?
Absolutely. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it.
Great industrial use for it. Oh, what's the use case, bro? What's the value proposition? What's the use case? Great industrial use case. Look, man. Digital gold, flight to quality, store of value. These terms, like, if you're a finance person, most of you probably aren't finance people. I'm becoming a finance guy. I'm basically a finance guy. I'm definitely a finance guy. That vocabulary has, like, a lot of significance. I gotta end this video soon. It's a pretty big deal. It's happening, and BlackRock, who controls like $10 trillion of assets under management, like if you have a financial advisor, you give your money to them, they manage it for you. Yeah, they have like $10 trillion. They're the largest asset manager in the world. And BlackRock personally owns, let me put y'all on game right quick. BlackRock personally has, well, not personally, but their ETF, which just launched January 10th of 2024. I remember I was working at the SEC when it happened. I was doing security. That was a crazy day too. It was actually a very boring day. But when this happened, I just was like, wow. Bitcoin was about $40,000 at the time. In a year, they accumulated 2.7% of the total Bitcoin supply. And they don't plan on stopping. They're actually going to double down this year. They're recommending all their clients buy it. Fidelity as well, they have some. ARC 21, I had the chance to go hear Kathy Wood the other week at Penn. That was a great time. Van Eck. Yeah, this is a big deal. Like, this is just a big deal. I'm going to wrap it up. But I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this was informative. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I want to show y'all right quick on this. Oh, yep, the data hack. That's not crazy. Okay. Russia mining Bitcoin. Okay. The data hack was what I mentioned last year. Like, there was a big data breach. A lot of people's personal information, social security numbers, and everything was hacked. And I slept like a baby because I'm all in on Bitcoin and cold storage, and all I have is debt in the real world. And Bitcoin in the digital world, and that makes me feel safe. So the value proposition for Bitcoin: if you want to secure your money, right? If you want to secure your wealth, if you want to grow your wealth, if you want to outperform inflation, if you want to save money, Bitcoin is the answer, right? Like it's that simple. And I just want to urgently warn you, please don't get distracted by crypto. I have to show you crypto.com. And this is it. I'm doing this super long video so I don't have to make videos for the rest of the week. And maybe I'll chop this up. We'll see. But you'll go on CoinGecko and you'll say, wow, look, Bitcoin went up 10%. That's crazy. But Ethereum went up 13. XRP went up 32. Wow, Solana went up 25. Cardano went up 60%. Like, why would I buy Bitcoin? These other ones are going up a lot more. I could buy Dogecoin. Listen, you can do whatever you want to with your money. I'm just telling you from experience. I've been in this space for 5 years. And when I had XRP, I did recently buy some. Again, I got in at 50 cents. But I sold it. I sold it at a profit. I walked away. And I put that money in Bitcoin. I didn't touch Solana. I thought about it at $20. I didn't do it. I had Cardano. I got out of there. How did Doge do for me? How did I do in Doge? I got out of Doge with a little bit of profit. Oh, I still have some. Okay. I have this old account I need to like go close. What else did I do? I messed around with Avalanche. I know about crypto. I know about blockchain. I made a little bit of money. I put it right in Bitcoin. Because all of this stuff, if you look at these charts, like you wouldn't want to sit in this because we still haven't came back to the all-time high. But Bitcoin is at new all-time highs. Like we're struggling on Ethereum, right? Like XRP did hit new all-time highs, but I just don't like the fundamentals. I don't like the tokenomics, and we can get into that. But it is being included. He said it's going to be included in the reserve, so I'm gonna stop hating on XRP. Psych. Let's see what else we got here. We got a lot of stuff, but I don't want you to see these numbers and get distracted. I want you to do as much research as you can on Bitcoin and learn about the fundamentals so that you can actually secure your money. Learn about cold storage. I'll walk you through all of this, right? So if you lock in with me, I'm gonna be here. If you got questions, like I said, hit me up, hit the comments, and I hope you have a good day. Stay safe, be blessed, and I'm out of here. Peace.